You've tuned into The Mountain Gardener with your host, Ken Lain. Gardening, it can be challenging, but with these simple insider tips, you'll reap huge rewards. Now, let's tune into today's Mountain Gardener with Ken and Lisa. And welcome to this week's edition of The Mountain Gardener. Your host, Ken Lain, here every week, talking about the landscapes of Northern Arizona. We are at the peak. Mother's Day for this central highlands, this central part of the state. This would be Sedona all the way over to Skull Valley, Prescott, Paulden, all the way down to Cordes Junction, Prescott Valley, Dewey, Humboldt, Mayer, of course, Prescott, this whole circle, Seligman's involved, Ash Fork. We're in the peak of our planting season. So we're getting the likelihood of a last frost is kind of really starting to shrink and disappear. If it does freeze, it will be a flash frost, and that's just gone. And then it's for a couple of minutes, then it's gone. And so I think we are in the thick of planting season, at least at the garden center. We're loaded for bear. We're ready for it. So lots of vegetables, every kind of. Did you know there's two kinds of tarragon? We've got Mexican tarragon and French tarragon. You get all the selection coming out, and so it's peak season. I think you're okay to plant. I mean, just always keep a sheet ready. So if you do see a frost, you definitely want to just throw anything breathable over top of it. That will protect it. So it holds us the warmth of the earth, the garden, underneath that blanket. And then it keeps the frost, it floats it on top of the plant. And so you don't want to use plastic. Plastic is terrible. So plastic actually holds cold in and keeps it there. So it does more damage than good. Breathable materials like burlap. A frost cloth, of course, is a great one. Sheets, a box is great. I had someone last year, they threw their garden hats. I had someone put garden gloves. They put a bamboo stake through the gloves over their tiny little seedlings because they had a real quick flash frost out there. And so get creative, but breathable is the secret. I think you're good to go. Just always kind of watch the weather. I think you'll be okay. We are starting to see a lot of the flowers going in right now. So the veggies have been going in. That's number one department. Actually, the way it works, shrubs are number one because the lilacs are blooming. Butterfly bush came in and they are gorgeous right now. The crepe myrtles came in. So folks have been wanting these flowering shrubs. That's number one. Number two department are the veggies, vegetables and herbs. We kind of lump that into the same. So tomatoes, peppers, squash, eggplants, and then also the rosemary, lavender, tarragon, oregano, dill, all these types of mainly culinary herbs are number two department. Number three, flowers. Then it'd be trees, pottery, killing bugs. The thrip are as bad as I've ever seen them this year. I'll touch on that. I got to touch on that because they're starting to bother me. They're biting me sometimes. So we'll cover some of these things for you. But that's this show in a nutshell. One theme that I've found with customers this week, at least here in Prescott at Waters Gardens, and the one thing that I've noticed is we've got a lot of raised beds and even more containers or pots. So if you've got an older container and some soil in there from last year, or you've got a raised bed and you're adding new flowers, new vegetables, new herbs, whatever. Let me take a sip here to kind of clear my throat. That's good. I got an espresso machine that makes the best coffee. Oh my gosh, it is so good. Anyway, I digress. If you are going to plant or add to your containers or raised beds, make sure you're freshening the soil up. Gardening is so easy if you get the soil right. If you get the soil wrong, you will struggle. You think you have black thumbs. It's just so hard. You get the soil right, you're going, I'm a gardener. It's so easy. Oh my gosh. I throw my hat in the soil. It starts to grow because the soil is perfect. You get the soil right. And gardening is easy. If you guesstimate the soil, you take shortcuts on the soil, you're just not sure about your soil, you're not going to do as well. Your tomatoes will be less. They'll be smaller. Your flowers won't have as many buds. They won't bloom as long. You won't have as many butterflies. The sunsets will not be as bright and crisp as if your soil is just right. And so the soil, if you've got great big pots, and I've got some massive pots, containers. I've had a couple back surgeries. It's hard for me to bend over anymore. I just don't want to get on my hands and knees. I want to be up here, sitting on the edge of the raised bed, up sitting on my chair, doing my raised beds or containers. And so I have a lot of containers that way. And the soil in my backyard is awful. I mean, I guess I'm overlooking the dells. The vistas are spectacular, but boy, is that ground hard. North slope. So it stays wet. It's gooey. It's thick. It's clay. It's the hardest gardening I've ever done is this house. And I've gardened all over. I've farmed all over the county. This is the hardest, but I figured it out. Abandon the soil. Go for bringing all your new stuff. Just raise beds. I've got retaining block I got from Yavapai block downhill. And then I backfill behind those retaining blocks. And now I've got beautiful soil. And on the patios, I just have big pots, big container, trees, roses, rosemary, hydrangeas are in containers because it's so easy, so pretty. They're like pieces of art sitting there on my patio. If you're going to plant in these containers and you need to add new plants in there. So let's say if you do an annual garden, or you're going to put new vegetables. If you're doing that, make sure you're adding some fresh soil to that container garden every year. So what I try to do is I'll see where last year's tomato was growing, or last year's zinnias, last year geraniums, whatever was in there last year. I'm trying to dig that out aggressively, all the roots out. I've got my garden tub right there, and I try to get that out of there. I'm not just getting the roots out. I'm getting the roots and all the soil around those roots out of there. And what I'm trying to do is make room for additional potting soil. So there's basically 3 types of soil you're going to find at a garden center. I don't care if it's a box store or a garden center like Waters. There's basically mulch or compost. It's a composted wood material. You've got topsoil, which is basically compost with some sand to add some weight so it doesn't blow away. Now, I guess you've got manure. Okay, you've got that, not really a soil. Then you've got potting soil. So those 3 main soils are mulch, topsoil, and then potting soil. Potting soil is our grower's mix. It's what our plants are started in. If you can give a plant, let's say you're buying you're buying a new Calibrachoa or Million Bells Petunia or a new Sunbelievable sunflower. You're buying one of these. If you can give that plant, put it in your pot and give it more of what it knows automatically, it just thrives. You can't go wrong. It's just so easy because they don't like to change soils. Plants don't adapt well. They like sameness. So I'm trying to add pockets. Now, a lot of my containers have perennials anchoring that container, or my raised beds have a rose bush, but I want to skirt it with zinnias or alyssum, Million Bells petunias, those wave petunias that just spread out and so beautiful. It's a great design. And so I'm trying to take some of that soil out so I can add some fresh potting soil. If you do that, your success will quadruple. I mean, it's just so easy as long as you're watering. So we got the water factor, but if you get the soil right, that's the number 1 thing. The number 2 thing is water, but they make tools for this. Just get a water meter. The easiest thing ever. If you're new to gardening, new to the area, let's say you're from the South, where it's more humid. You're from the Northwest, where it rains a lot more. Well, you're going to adapt. You're going to have to water more here because it's dry and arid. You can feel it in your skin right now. You can feel the dryness in the air. Your plants feel that too. Well, a moisture meter, a $10 tool, can stick it in there and goes, no, looks like it's dry. It helps you monitor how long it takes for your gardens to dry out. Or what I do is I frequently plant. I got a feel for how to water my plants. I'm doing this for decades, and I know my gardens now because we've been in this house for quite a while. So, but sometimes this transition, spring is a hard time. We're going from cool nights to warm nights. You're going to have to be watering more now all of a sudden. So I'm adjusting my clocks and getting things ready. When that happens, I'm watching the canary in the coal mine. I like watching my pansies. They're real crybabies. They're just whiny crybabies. They get dry, they get cold, they lay down. They just go, oh, I'm so dry. Oh my gosh, the sun. They let you know when their lettuce will do that to you. Tomatoes can do that. As they get bigger, they start to wilt at the end of the day going, oh, okay, looks like I need to water a little bit more in the morning to get them through. So you're watering. Probably right now I've got things set for every 3 days, my containers. every 4 days in my raised beds. I might bump that up as we get into the 80s. Then as we get in the 90s, it's every day. I want them to make sure they're happy and healthy and growing like crazy. We got a lot in store for you, but Lisa Waters Lane is coming in with your garden questions right after this.
There's nothing like tomatoes picked fresh from your garden.
Waters Mountain Tomato Collection are varieties proven to produce and thrive. Heirlooms, beefsteaks, cherries, naturally grown for local success.
Completely organic, never genetically altered, and utterly delicious. They're ready for your garden now.
You can grow your own this spring, and we can help. Waters Garden Center, 1815 Iron Springs Road in Prescott.
Shop Waters in-store or online at watersgardencenter.com.
For a more fruitful garden, increase success in the landscape that just feels better, then tune in daily to the Mountain Gardener podcast. Subscribe through your favorite podcast streamer or visit watersgardencenter.com. Better yet, visit me directly right here at Waters Garden Center. Thanks for tuning in.